Hi folks, welcome back to the Model 3 Man channel. Well, it's over. We.Robot. And if you ask any 10 random people exactly what they thought of the event and their particular take on it, you're likely to get 10 completely different opinions. So as I give you my opinion, understand it is just that. It's a series of opinions on what I saw, what I understand from it, based upon my 6 years of ownership, testing of full self-driving. These opinions are also tempered by the fact that I've waited 2 or 3 days after the weekend is over so that the proverbial dust could settle. And as a result of that, we can get perhaps a more measured, a more tempered view of what it actually means to us. So number one, the big lesson that I take from this presentation is never to underestimate Elon's ability to achieve his stated goals. On his own timeline, of course, but to achieve the goals that he states, because he has always come through. We just came off a weekend where we watched the most incredible sight of the booster of Starship returning to Earth, jockeying itself into position, navigating itself to that launch tower from which it left a short while before, 10 minutes before, and actually being able to be grasped and clasped by those two arms as the first stage moved in between the arms and the arms closed around it. Nothing I've ever seen in my life comes close to that incredible sight. And yet, 2 years ago, Elon kind of put forward the idea that this might happen in a way that when you listen to it, really didn't sound like it was all that viable. Take a look at this.
I mean, this is pretty crazy. I mean, there's a custom-built tower with arms that are designed to catch the largest and heaviest flying object ever made and pluck it out of the air. I mean, that's the theory anyway. So.
Yeah, I think it's funny, people actually forget now that they're actually meant to lift and stack the rocket. The cranes have such bad wind capability. But one time, the booster legs were going to weigh a lot. Elon just said, delete the legs, delete. We're like, well, what's you just use the arms. And then said it again, and we go, wow, he's serious. Okay, we better get on this. And now it seems normal. Or we think
at least seems plausible.
It seems plausible, yeah.
I mean, it's still super crazy. But the more you talk about it, I mean, I think, at SpaceX, we specialize in converting things from impossible to late.
Absolutely incredible. So when Elon says that the cyber taxis and the robo van are here, they will work, and they will forever change the face of public transportation, I'm going to be inclined to believe and not to doubt. I've seen too many times when Elon promised something that it might take a long time to achieve, but he always gets what he's after. Number two, I'm stunned by how stylish the designs of both the cyber taxi and the robo van actually were in practice. I mean, the robo van, the 20-seater, absolutely looks right now like something from a space movie, something in a different galaxy, in a different era. Unbelievable. But the Robo Taxi itself, I can understand that using the term cyber would denote that some of the design follows or mimics the Cybertruck, and it clearly does. The single mono light across the front and the back, the blunt front and tail end, a lot to look at there and to recognize Cybertruck elements. But as well as that, the beautiful curves, the style that's more reminiscent of the Model 3 and the Model Y and the Model S, those elements between the front and the back were beautiful and curved and absolutely elegant in design. So they've managed to fuse the blunt ugliness, as it were, of the Cybertruck with the incredible grace and curves of the models that we currently drive into a single vehicle that looks stylish and elegant and yet somehow of the future. which is what Cybertruck looks like. Cybertruck is the future, and they've managed to fuse that into the design. So excellent, stylish, and attractive, and something that the public will grow to love. Now, I do know that the gold look on the wheel covers was partly rendered by painting half of the tire, and that's a little kitsch, but this, remember, is only a prototype. It's not a production vehicle. That will come in time. Now, the appearance of the army of Optimus Prime humanoid bots, each with their number on their shoulder to identify them, was unexpected for me, unexpected for many, but very, very welcome. I was absolutely blown away by just how much they have developed this version 3 in terms of the number of degrees of articulation, the hand movements, the smoother motion of Optimus Prime as he is walking, as he moves, as he turns. Incredible the way that he was able to stop, look at individuals, and respond to them. Now, I'll leave it to people far more qualified to decide whether or not there was a remote human at the other end who was busy answering questions and inputting voice commands from a distance. But I do know this, that when the production model of the humanoid bot is released, it will have the ability to listen to its owner through the presence of the microphone and give AI-generated answers and responses. Whether or not the ones at the We.Robot presentation were answering through AI or whether there was a human is kind of immaterial. It will be a function and a feature of the public release of the production models of these bots. Now, number 4, the use of the Warner Brothers studio lot was, I think, a very, very wise one. It gave a measure of control so that for the many people who were milling around, it was a lot safer an environment than an actual urban city, which would not have worked very well. But of course, the benefit of using the studio lot is that it is filled with roads and houses and stop signs, traffic signs, all kinds of obstacles like cyclists, people walking around, and those people were, of course, the guests at the We.Robot event. But it was a wise decision to allow the measure of control that this artificial lot had, but to give a real-world example of how, in fact, in the real world, these robo taxis would actually behave. Add to that the fact that there were probably close to 50 fully autonomous, unsupervised vehicles, a mixture of robo taxis and 3s and Ys and S and possibly X, a mixture of all of those that did not have a driver. So, in other words, they were all utilizing the same full self-driving autonomous software and doing a very good job of it. When you say, well, what were the obstacles that they had to encounter? 50 other vehicles, people, bicycles, road conditions that certainly mimicked what it might look like in an urban area. Elon has kept his promise to allow vehicles from as far back as 2018, and that's now 6 years ago, to still be able to drive fully autonomously and without supervision. Number 5, the actual formal content of the presentation was, in my view, just a little too random and a little too chaotic. A lot of the information we now know about the 2 robotaxis actually came to us not from Elon's formal presentation or from the information slides, but from a variety of Tesla YouTubers who managed to get a ride in one or both of the vehicles, and then they provided us with that additional information, which we really should have been shown during the speech. There are a lot of details I would have liked to have heard. For example, what is the range of the robotaxi? How long does recharging take using the inductive charging method? What capacity of trunk storage is available? What about functionality on the touchscreen? What features, what functions or apps will be available there? If you have any other questions that you think should have been answered, drop them into the comment section below. I'd be very keen to hear them. So in future, perhaps Elon could utilize a presentation specialist who can liaise with the development team and can receive questions from either the public or the audience in advance so that they can help to form the presentation content in line with what the development team wants us to know and what the public would really like to know. Number 6, I was stunned and blown away by the fact that he said we, the public, would be able to purchase these cyber taxis. Now you can imagine an Uber driver fearing for his future looks at this and says, well, hold on a minute. Maybe I can sell my vehicle and I can buy 2 or maybe get a loan and buy 3 of these robo taxis and manage my own small fleet. So he's not out of a job, he's just into a different job where he can be managing his fleet, or as Elon called it, his flock of sheep. He just tends to them like a shepherd. I think that's a brilliant idea. So it's not something for Uber drivers to fear, but something to look forward to and to realize that a whole new way of earning a living from public transit is on the horizon for them as well. Number 7, that zany South African humor has not left Elon yet. You know, there's a saying, you can take the man out of South Africa, but you can't take the South African out of the man. And what am I referring to here? Well, you remember that when first the robo van pulled up in front of him and the doors opened and disgorged 17 passengers, Elon introduced it as the Robovan. Most people, Robovan? And then they looked at the spelling and they said, that's Robovan. Well, in South Africa, we have this weird, crazy, quaint way of trying to make something plain sound fancy. For example, we have a huge department store, or I should say a Walmart equivalent in South Africa, goes by the name of Game, G-A-M-E. Now, because it sold lower cost, lower price items, a lot of people were slightly embarrassed to admit that they shopped at Game. So they'd say, oh, I got this particular item at Gourmet. Gourmet. They kind of made it sound French. And that's just something South Africans do, and that was what Elon was doing when he said the Robovan, and then reverted later to calling it Robovan. Yeah, you can take the man out of South Africa, but not the South African out of the man. Number 8, I, like almost everybody else, and the drop in shares the next day testified to this, was extremely disappointed not to hear anything about the new $25,000 lower priced vehicle that is on the books, is on the cards, and has been talked about endlessly. And I can understand why Elon did not do that with my head. He did not want to upstage the incredible and very powerful concept of fully autonomous public transit that he is ushering in. I can fully understand that that was the key feature of the evening. Although he did have the humanoid bot, he had Optimus Prime, a whole army of them. I can also understand that he would want to devote a full evening or a full release event for the new vehicle. But what really disappointed me was not even getting any update. I mean, if he just said, and listen, to those of you who are expecting something on the 25,000 vehicle, I cannot do it tonight. It's not my place to do it tonight, but it is coming, and it's coming soon, and we will be having an evening for the revelation of all those details in the next few months, maybe January, maybe February. He didn't do that. He didn't say a thing. And to me, that was a serious gap in the presentation. To me, that is probably the biggest reason, the most telling reason why the shares dropped $20 the next day. Just like that, plummeted. And then a few more dollars the day after that. And yet another reason that Elon would not want to reveal anything about that new car on the night of the Robo Taxi event was that he did not want to torpedo the sales of the Model 3 and the Model S, and the Model X, the Model Y. He absolutely did not want everyone sitting, holding on to their bank balances and saying, I'll wait it out. I hear it's coming. Here are the details. I love it. I just won't buy a Tesla for now. That doesn't make any sense at all in terms of maintaining a constant level of Tesla sales. I get it with my head, but I don't get it with my heart. There was a lot of speculation that, in fact, Elon was dropping the idea of a cheaper car in favor of robo taxis, cyber taxis, and that people within the company persuaded him not to do that. So there was no allusion to it at all, which kind of lends to the fear that maybe Elon is thinking of dropping it. I truly hope that's not the case, and here's why. That is the one and the most important missing piece of the puzzle. The fact that there will be a car at a lower price than the 3 or the Y is what is giving many people hope. And the adoption of EVs has been relatively slow to this point. And in my understanding, it's because that affordable entry-level model is not there, hasn't been pushed. They're not even talking about it right now. I believe it will happen, but that is the missing part of Elon's plan. Expensive model to fund the less price model. That model to fund the one below it. And so it's got to come, and if it doesn't get referred to soon, I fear that Tesla shares will not be rising anytime soon because the advent of the Robo Taxi era is still not for a few years. In the meantime, we need that cheaper vehicle. Are you listening, Elon? And number 9, I absolutely, fully, and completely agree that the Robo Taxi and the Robo Van and any other vehicles that he chooses to add to that fleet are absolutely going to dominate the autonomous, full self-driving public transit system. It will not be Waymo. It will not be Cruise. If they allow it back after running over a person. It will not be anything else. It will be the robo-taxis. In the beginning, I thought that the battle between Uber and Tesla's robo-taxis would be a fierce and a decisive battle, but now that I can see that Uber drivers could actually supplement their physical driving with a fleet of robo-taxis, there is no longer such a dramatic clash between the two companies. There's more of a synergy. There's more of a means whereby the two can coexist. Do I believe Elon's will be the dominant one? Absolutely. Elon has never failed to accomplish what he sets out to accomplish. Number 10, the revolution in charging the vehicles. There was no way that a robo-taxi could go out on its own and magically stick the charging cable into the charger port. But with the advent of inductive charging and the car merely driving over a plate, that answers that question. It solves it. So I'm thrilled to see it, and I know that that will mean that you could send your robo-taxi out for the day, and it might spend an hour charging, but all the rest, it's out driving. Almost makes one want to get a robo-taxi, but no, I'm holding out for the Model 2 or the Model Q or whatever he chooses to call it. That is where I'll be spending my money. Thanks for watching this episode. I'll be back again soon with more insights into the wonderful world of Tesla and the amazing things that Elon has planned for us. Cheers for now.